So welcome everybody to the water cooler, another episode, and it looks like we're doing back-to-back episodes on a weekly basis right now. So episode number 2, I'm Fernando, and this is...
I'm Jeff. I am Jeff. Something's going to blow up, no doubt. This is just, it's too much.
2 weeks in a row. It's too good to be true, but hey, let's keep it rolling, which is funny. So today, what do we got to cover? We got a couple new things. I know that one thing really dominated the news cycle, at least on the Apple side, but we got some other little things to sprinkle in there that we're going to cover, especially some stuff that we did and we produced this week. So I kind of want to start off with what you did, Jeff. I know that you had a nice video, got some good feedback, and it's a dope product.
Yeah, I mean, it's the Doe display. It's the 4K display that the company formerly known as Eve changed their name to Doe because of all the controversy.
Company?
It's the same company, man.
Oh, I had no idea.
Yeah, so there was all sorts of controversy surrounding that company because they were having some issues with their logistics and getting their product in the customer's hands. There was a lot of disappointed customers that never received their products, never received refunds. It's just a mess. So they had some serious logistic issues. A lot of people were saying that the company was a scam. I don't believe they're a scam. I just think they probably bit off a little bit more than they could chew.
Yeah.
And they were just probably a little too ambitious, and they weren't able to live up to their promises, basically. But I got the product. The product's legit. It's a good monitor. It's a 4K monitor. It's not 5K. So it's not exactly a studio display competitor, but it's a decent monitor, especially if you're a gamer, because it's 144 hertz. So
nice.
Yeah, it's a nice display. Not perfect, but it isn't like all janky like you see a lot of these. The Honda Civic Type R.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I'm talking about? Like how over-designed that car is.
It's like almost too much.
It's hideous. Like,
sorry
to any Honda fans. Yeah, they're trying way too hard.
We're gonna hear something in the comments.
Yeah, that's your typical gaming product, right? Like any sort of gaming, it's got to have a whole bunch of RGB lights. It's got to have all this extra molding.
Everywhere.
Yeah, it's like we don't need all of that. We need it simple. The nice thing about this display, though, that Doe display, it's a glossy gaming display, which is something that really hadn't been done up until then. I don't know about you guys, but I cannot use a matte display. They're horrible because with a matte display, even Apple's highfalutin, what do they call it, nano texture?
Yeah, the
display.
Pro Display XDR. But isn't it also like $1,000 upgrade too?
Maybe.
It might not be, actually.
On the studio display, I think it's 500. I think
Okay.
it's 500 on the studio display, and I think it was 500 on the iMac. Remember on the 5K iMac, it was an option as well.
I do remember that.
But basically what those things do, like it adds like a layer of diffusion to the display, which, rejects reflections, and that's nice. But then you're getting like anti-aliasing built into the display. So like all your sharp angles look kind of blurry. Like text looks a little bit blurry. Yeah, I don't like it. So I definitely appreciate having a gaming display that is not matte, it's glossy. So anyway, check out the video if you want to see it. I know some people think it's a scam. I got lambasted. Is that lambasted? Is that a word?
I think so. Yeah, that's definitely a word. They came at you.
I got lambasted in the comments because everyone's saying, "Why are you promoting this scam?" I'm like, dude, it's a real product. It's here on my desk. I can't.
And it's
like.
It looked good. It looked simple. It looked clean. The unbox, like literally, it just like you said, it didn't even bring like a stand, right? Or did it
didn't even come with a stand. Like you have to buy the stand separately.
That's crazy. But I mean, it looked nice. Anyway. I didn't know that it was the same Eve company because Eve. They were all over social media, like almost pre-COVID, right?
So I never had heard of them. Like I didn't even, like when I saw this monitor, I'm like, oh, this monitor looks cool. Like
they started with like a. What's it called? A Microsoft Surface competitor, I remember. I remember like Unbox Therapy. I remember seeing a video that he made like years ago. And I was like, oh, this thing looks really cool, but it was like really expensive for the time. And then I guess they did the monitor, and then that kind of broke down. But now they're back as Doe, which is also an interesting name.
Stupidest name ever. Like, Doe? Like, you couldn't have thought of anything else. It's like the Wu-Tang name generator of
like,
products.
oh, what should we rename this thing? At least Eve sounded cool for some reason, but Doe has nothing to do. Like, there's nothing proprietary about Doe, right? Like, what?
There's nothing technical about it. Doesn't even sound like a sharp edge. You know, like Eve sounds like sharp. Like there's a V in the name, right? Eve.
That was like
sounds.
It makes me think of like the Pillsbury Doughboy or something. You know?
Exactly.
Like, I don't want to be gaming on that thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's funny.
Anyway, check out the video. We'll have the link down below in the description for sure.
No, absolutely. And then, so we had a couple other videos. I was able to put together the journal app video, which I kind of wanted to give everybody a complete walkthrough of how to use that thing. Because like we spoke about it last episode, how we were both relatively impressed with what the journal app brought and how it was able to kind of get us into the journaling aspect, because neither of us are journalers at all. And I still continue to use it. Probably every other day I'm doing a little journal entry because I have the notifications turned on. So if you guys want to learn how to use a journal app, it's already simple enough, but if you guys want to see all the ins and outs of it and how to create a journal entry, how to set your settings up correctly, and just a complete walkthrough, I took some of my inner Jeff Benjamin, as some would say, to get this video done. And it turned out well. So I'm a fan of the journal app, 100%.
Yeah, I could see you like sitting in front of not your iPad, because there's no journal iPad app yet, but once that comes out, I can see you be like, today was a good day.
My little diary entry,
To your diary.
This is funny. That's why they got the passcode lock on there, I don't want people reading my diary entries. You don't know what I'm saying. But that was a fun video to put together. So if you guys haven't tried the journal app yet, I got some mixed. I was surprised. The comments that were coming in, people were like, "I'm never going to use that app," or "I've never journaled. I'm never going to journal." So I was kind of surprised. But and then some people were still saying that I think the app is a day one or 1 day. The third party application. Yeah, I still have to try that because people are saying it's way more robust.
I mean, it is, but it's also a third party app, and then you're trusting your. I don't know. I guess they use iCloud. I don't know what they use. I'm speaking out of turn here, but it's more robust. It's been available for years. This is just a brand new app, and I think the people who are negative about it just haven't given it a shot.
I agree, and it's also because one other thing that came up that people were kind of upset about or not upset. They were just like being anti-Apple, where it was. Because it's fully encrypted, the journal app, just like iMessage, just like iCloud. So like Apple's not looking into your thoughts and your journal entries and like, oh, how can we sell this data? So people are like, oh, Apple already has too much of my information. The last thing I want them is to be in my head and know exactly how I'm feeling too. So I thought that was a funny comment. But otherwise, the journal app, you guys should definitely give it a shot. Do one journal entry and then you can leave those comments. But do one and then see what happens.
Yeah, for sure.
That was a journal app. We definitely going to leave that one linked down below if you guys want to see that walkthrough. And then, as of recording this video, the iPad Beginner's Guide should be up. Because I think it released on Friday. If you guys do want to see that one, if you guys picked up an iPad during the holiday season, and you guys just want to learn the ins and outs of the iPad, whether you are a beginner or somebody like myself who's, used it for forever, definitely something in there that you could probably learn. Probably one of my longer videos.
So you already posted
it? I think it goes up at noon on Friday, if I'm not mistaken. So I'll double check on that. If not, it will be posted by the time this video goes up.
Okay.
Yeah. So definitely check that one out, guys.
Yeah, we'll have a lot more coming too. There's a lot of stuff in the works. I got the just a sneak preview, my so-called. Well, obviously you can see like the new setup here. So I have a video that's sort of behind the scenes on the multicam and how that works and how I'm able to control, have 4 cameras recording at the same time and control it all via a single Thunderbolt cable connected to a single Mac. It's pretty cool. There's some software called Movie Recorder that is really, really cool. And I'll be exploring that in an upcoming video launching soon, so stay tuned.
You guys are going to love the setup. He sent me some sneak previews, and it looks sick.
It
definitely looks good. And look at the setup right now, It's looking good. You got
my Microsoft
Windows.
Yeah.
It's a cool little add-on. That's definitely a purposeful touch that Jeff added in there. Yeah. That doesn't happen by accident, everybody.
Doesn't.
Which is awesome. But yeah, that's all the content that we had this week. So definitely stay subscribed, get subscribed, because we got a lot more stuff in the works, both me and Jeff, which is awesome to see. But now to pivot a little bit to what else happened news-wise this week. Before we get into the Vision Pro, because that kind of dominated the headlines, I do want to bring up that iOS 17.3 Beta 3 did release for those people that are on the beta program, whether it is the developer or the public beta program. Last week, they released Beta 2, which had that issue where it bricked some people's iPhones. And that was the first time in a very long time that a beta did something negative or detrimental to
like
to your iPhone
really
or
negative,
iPad.
right?
Yeah. Because normally, you always say like, oh, install at your own risk, but like for the most part, it always works, right? I've never gone through a situation where I've like lost data or had to restore a device or anything like that. But if you had that back tap feature turned on and for some reason you were on the beta program and you updated to beta 2, your phone was bricked. So Apple with beta 3 did alleviate that. And I have beta 3 installed and it works fine. Which is awesome.
Good to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you find I don't think anything new came out with beta 3, right? Nothing in particular. Nothing to beta 3.
I'm ashamed to admit I have not installed it yet. But
this guy.
I know my phone keeps prompting me to install it, so I will be installing it today.
Yeah.
But I don't think there were any like major new features, outside of the stolen device protection that launched in beta 1. So.
Yeah. So if you guys want to install it, go for it. It's a little bit more stable, I guess, or that's what Apple wants to do with the incremental beta updates. But overall, it's working well, and the device protection feature is definitely going to be a good one. And a lot of people aren't gonna. It's one of those things that just Apple just gets right, in my opinion. It's like, all right, this is like a good, definitely value add to anybody that has an iPhone.
For sure.
So that's what we had iOS-wise. And then Apple wowed us a little bit this week. If you want to let the people know what happened.
Well, Vision Pro, we now know an official launch date. We now know an official pre-order date. And that pre-order date is January 19th at 5 a.m. Pacific. So thank you, Apple, for allowing us East Coasters to lay in bed for another couple hours before we had to get up.
That's true.
To do that.
That's clutch. Yeah, so 8 a.m. That's when we're going to be ordering this thing. I mean, have you decided? Yeah, right?
Yeah.
You're going to at least pre-order it? Yeah. Okay.
For sure.
So let's see how that goes. And so what we got news-wise from directly from Apple is, like you mentioned, February 19th is pre-order date. January 19th pre-order date. February 2nd is the go live or public date for it to actually be released. And they also let us finally know what was in the box. So what you're getting, what it's coming with. And there's a couple things in there. You get the polishing cloth, which is included in the packaging. It's a $20 value. Which is amazing.
Hey, I could wax poetic about that.
Yeah.
That polishing cloth is amazing. I don't care what nobody says. I know it gets a lot of like jokes and stuff, but it truly is like an awesome polishing cloth. It's the
right. I mean, I assume so. It's something I still haven't purchased.
What?
I'm not gonna lie. I know, right?
As an iPad user, dude, I'm telling you, I'm not even joking. Like, I'm for real. It cleans the MacBook's display better than anything else I've ever tried.
Really?
Like, hands down. Yeah, hands down. And I'm assuming, yeah, it's worth it.
I'm assuming it's like if you buy like a luxury watch or like a bracelet or something, it's like that kind of polishing cloth that it comes with,
Even better.
Really?
Better. It's not one of those little cheap, those things that like when you buy like a cheap Android phone, it has that black something cloth. Like yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like they put it in there as if this is an extra we're including in the box. And they have it like all nicely wrapped in a piece of like cellophane. And it's like, dude, this is horrible. Like, I'm not going to touch my... Yeah. I might scratch my screen.
Scratching myself.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but the polishing cloth is legitimately like, it's really nice good. Yeah. It cleans this... You know how hard it is to clean like a MacBook screen that has like a lot of like...
oily fingerprints,
oil and gunk, and then you try to clean it, and it's like you just smear it.
Dude, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Doesn't happen with the polishing cloth. It don't.
Ooh, okay.
It don't.
All right, nice. So I'm gonna save my $20 since I'm gonna be getting it with the Vision Pro. Gotta save my money somewhere.
For sure.
Which is crazy. So it also comes with we do get a USB-C cable, and we also get a charging brick included. Apple's going all over the place with this one. I did put up I tweeted the other day, like, what do you guys think the wattage is going to be coming out of this thing? Like over under 35 watts. What do you think?
I would say the brick, You get two 4K screens. Granted, they are the size of a postage stamp.
Yeah, right?
So I have no idea, honestly. I'm just going to be honest.
Right? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm going to say 30. I'm going to say like above 35 watts. Maybe like a 45 watt brick or something like that. That they'll include in the box, which I think will be funny.
Yeah, I would say that. Like, yeah, I could see that.
All right. It's going to be the power situation is going to be interesting for the Vision Pro. Like, you're going to need to have some long wires, right? Because you can kind of be portable with it, but you're going to be using that like 2-hour battery pack that's also included in the packaging.
There's so many unanswered questions, and that's really the exciting thing about this whole thing, because I still have so many questions, and yeah, we know what's in the box, but we still don't really know how it all works. Like, even the people who have done these hands-on, like they've gone hands-on with the device, they still, that was very limited. Apple was sort of micromanaging and just looking over their shoulder the whole time, but like I can't wait to just get in there and tinker and just see, like, number one, what this thing's capable of. Number two, like, what are all the ins and outs and how does it work? Like, it's like uncharted territory. It's kind of exciting.
No, for sure. This is like the first time I felt this way about an Apple product, probably since the iPhone, honestly. Because it was like the iPhone was just such a, again, it was like a wonder of a device. Like Steve Jobs went up and like slide to unlock and like pinch to zoom and the inertia of like a list and like all these things that you never really think about until you actually start using it. And then you start to open up the can of worms of everything you can do with it. I'm probably just going to spend like 48 hours in my room by myself just playing with this thing, you know, figuring out what I'm going to be using it for. Yeah. Because it's going to be used at $3,500.
Yeah. I don't really know, like, I'm getting it regardless, like, right? Like, because it, like you said, it is the first device, I would say, since the iPhone. I mean, it's really the first new device that we've had for a very long time, because you think the Apple Watch is basically a small
iPhone.
A small iPhone. You know? The iPad is basically a big iPhone. The iPhone's basically a Mac. I mean, you could say, all right, the Mac and the iPhone are two distinct, like, one's a portable computer, one's a desktop computer. So those are definitely, there's some distinction there. Yeah. But with the Apple Watch, you could say it's a wearable. I mean,
the idea was always the same, you know?
It's like always the same,
was always
right?
Touch interface, like, you know, maybe you had the digital crown, which is new, but...
Yeah. This is new. Like, that's the exciting thing. Like, this is new. Like, it's not a recycled idea. Not that the iPad is, like, a bad idea. It's a great idea. But it is nothing. It's not new, right?
Yeah. Especially when it first came out, it was literally just a big iPod Touch.
It was.
The first iPad was a big iPod Touch.
That was the joke at the time.
Yeah.
But this is new. We don't know really how it works. I'm interested to see how it interfaces with the Mac, like being able to use it as an external display. That's because I have so many questions, so many comments.
So many.
I don't want to hog the discussion, so maybe you can talk about the next thing on the list. What else we got going on here?
And I mean, just real quick in terms of like the Vision Pro, I'm in the same boat with you, man. Like, I want to find out exactly how I'm going to use it, what I'm going to use it for, how, you know, like how the intricacies of it is, like how is it going to track my eyes, like my eyeballs, right? There's eye tracking features in there. There's Apple's teaching us already with the Ultra 2 and the Series 9 watch how to use like little tapping, you know, the crab tapping to control everything. So it'll be a fun time. And then another thing I'm very interested to see is, we already saw that the mess that Apple, well, not really a mess, but the memeable situation Apple gave us with the AirPods Max case. There's supposed to be some case with the Vision Pro, because they have some ads of some people using it on a plane, people using it on the go. So this is a device that people are going to be bringing with them. How are they going to bring it with them? Throw it in their backpack? Is it a carrying case that they have? Is there another case for the battery that's going to be like, you know, it coming down from your ear in your pocket? I want to see how Apple wants us to use it, and then see how we actually end up using it.
Yeah,
that's a big question I have.
That's exciting too. Like, to think about the use cases not only at home, but while you're out and about. First thing I thought was like, there's no way I'm taking this thing out. It's a guarantee. Right? You look like a walking lick.
Rip it off my face too.
Yes, absolutely. You look like a walking opportunity. Like, somebody will snatch that off your face in 5 seconds. Like, unless you like are on a plane or you're in an airport, and even then you still might get it taken.
Right. Like, I can't wait to see the first one, like somebody on their commute into work in the city, just like sitting there with their thing on, you know.
I can't wait to see the first person in Starbucks with it, honestly.
Right. That's so true. They just have like a little Bluetooth keyboard and then their Vision Pro, and they're just working like this, you know. Yeah. And then but no, I'm just curious to see how it all ends up happening, and I'm excited. I'm overall just very excited. As you can see with my thumbs up.
Yeah. I'm like, and I have so many questions, like I was saying, like especially with regard to storage. Like, 256 gigabytes on the entry level $3,500 model. Like, this is, Apple is calling it a spatial computer. This is intended to be a standalone computing device. It's not an add-on for your Mac, although it can do that apparently. But it is supposed to be its own computer, just like you would buy a MacBook Air. Those used to come with 256 gigabytes of storage. I don't know. They may still. I can't remember. The thing is, like, with the 256 gigabytes of storage, I just wonder, like, first of all, how are we going to get files to and from this device? Or is it just going to be airdropped?
Yeah.
Is it, because that's going to be slow. That's going to be slow as molasses.
Trust me, I know that game. USB-C coming to the iPhone was a game changer for my workflow. So I was relying on AirDrop a lot. But that's a good question. Like, are we gonna have like a little dongle with an SD card just like dangling off of your face? You know what I mean, with the USB-C cable?
Yeah,
just to import like some photos or something.
Yeah, and it's like, and here's another question: like, what about like Final Cut Pro? Because that's obviously a huge use case for me. That's like the main reason I would be interested in this, to be able to sort of have multiple desktops. Get rid of the studio display or whatever, and then just use that to when I'm working. And like, but if you're limited to 256 gigabytes of storage, and are you going to be able to connect external drives to this thing? Right. I just have a lot of questions. I guess if you're working from the Mac, then that's your storage, right? But if you're using that as its own standalone computer, and there's a version for Final Cut Pro that comes out for the Vision Pro, then I don't know. I just have a lot of questions.
I wonder if Apple's going to end up like almost extending the functionality of that battery. Like, what if they started making attachments for that battery where, like, oh, you can get more storage on there, or get a 4-hour battery, or almost use it as like a dongle situation. So if you need to plug in an SSD, you just plug it into your pocket battery, you know? I don't know. Like you said, it's going to be like a weird situation. I just hope Apple doesn't give us like the way that we used to charge our Apple Pencil 1, or the way that you charge the current USB-C Apple Pencil, you know, something weird, something wonky like that. But knowing Apple, I'm sure they've thought of everything, but there's still a lot of things that we got to figure out.
Yeah, and least, I just don't...
I don't know. It's tough.
I don't want this to be like one giant beta test, because it kind of feels that way a little bit. That's a really expensive beta test. Like, it's one thing to buy an Apple Watch Series 1 for whatever that cost when it came out, $500 or whatever.
Yeah.
And that felt like a beta test, because it wasn't... I mean, it was just... It worked, but it obviously needed a lot of... Yeah, it needed work. Right?
Yeah.
But this is like multiple times over that cost. And it's just like, people don't have $3,500 just to be thrown around on the beta test. So this thing has to work really well.
Yeah.
Or it's going to be a lot of angry early adopters.
No, for sure. And I think Apple is selling it as like a very polished, like, it looks polished. They have their use cases. They're promising a lot of things. And I think Apple is also aware of that situation. Like, they don't want people to just like buy it, end up hating it, and then returning it, right? That's the last thing they want. Because I think there's only a few, like 60,000 or 80,000 total units coming out on release day, which is not a lot, especially in comparison to all their other products. Yeah. So I think it's going to sell out immediately.
Oh yeah, it's going to be hard to get this thing. Yeah.
People are flying outside of the U.S. into the U.S. just to come and pre-order this thing, which is crazy. Which, I mean, kudos to them. It is what it is. I don't know if I would do that. We're lucky to be in the U.S. and be the ones that be able to buy it, but. Overall, we're interested, we're intrigued, we're curious, just to see how all the different workflows work. And then again, can you share it with somebody? Like, if if my wife wants to use it, if your kid wants to use it, if your friend wants to try it out, can you share it with somebody? Because apparently it's gonna be very customized to you. So as I was saying, I don't know if you saw in the news or if you got the email from Apple that they're getting people ready to pre-order this Vision Pro, and by ready to pre-order it, they're giving us the time and when to do it, but then also they're advising us to have some sort of Face ID capable device next to you, whether it is an iPhone or an iPad. And it's because, like, after you pre-order it, they want you to scan your face to help Apple customize it to your face a little bit better. So I could just imagine everybody after they pre-order their thing just like trying to scan their face and get it right. I bet you it's not going to be a very flawless or seamless process, as we've noticed in the past. Like, when you pre-order an iPhone, sometimes you're locked out until like 8, 10 in the morning, and then you feel like you missed out. So I'm curious to see what that process is going to be like and why they're doing it. So it goes back to my question of, can somebody else outside of me use it if I buy it for myself, right? Especially people that wear glass. I mean, if people wear glasses or have some sort of contacts, and I'm sure that's going to be tough. But if people have normal vision, can you share it between each other? That's something I want to know, because hopefully you can.
Here's the real question: will you want to be able to share with each other? I don't think you're going to. I mean, if it works as well as they seem pretty confident. Like some of Tim Cook's, his comments on this thing. Mm-hmm. He seems extremely bullish on the Vision Pro. So I don't know. Maybe he knows something we don't, and he's used it obviously. And yeah, so I'm excited to test it out.
Yeah, we'll definitely check it out. So definitely some questions down below, whether it is the pre-order experience, the ordering experience, getting it in the hand, unboxing. We're gonna do it all, guys, and every little nuance. I know Jeff is gonna go deep. He's gonna do some deep dives into this thing.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, if I can get one, that's the question.
That's also a
yeah.
Yeah, let's see. Do you think it'll sell out quick? What do you think?
Yeah,
for sure.
Within
minutes.
Within 30 minutes.
Yeah, it'll be gone, and then we'll see that thing get pushed back to 6 weeks out, 8 weeks out, and we'll see what ends up happening. But that's pretty much all the news we got, right? We got the box content, we got the pre-order date, the date of release. Oh, and then finally, February 2nd, so the day that is being released, Apple is going to allow anybody, whether you have a pre-order or not, to make appointments to get a demo of the Vision Pro by an Apple employee, which I'm sure those appointments are also going to be filled up immediately.
Yeah.
I bet you people are going to scalp their position to get that appointment, which is going to be fun.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting. I'm interested to see how they're going to handle all the logistics of it, because this is different than anything else. It's so customizable, like you said. Like, how are they going to handle people who don't like it and return it? Or how are they going to handle, obviously we know scalping is going to be an issue.
Yeah.
I would imagine you're going to see these on eBay for $10,000. $10,000. Easily.
Don't be surprised if it's one of ours too,
No. Apple, it's only him. It's not me.
Yeah, right.
I'm actually going to use it. So let me have mine, please.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's funny. But we saw that the Cybertruck and the Ford Lightning, people couldn't sell it within the first year of having it because they didn't want people to just upsell the car that they got. I don't know if Apple will make us do that, but nah, right? Let's see.
Yeah.
But yeah. Any other Vision Pro thoughts?
No, I'm just waiting for next week, man. So next Friday, we would have already pre-ordered our Vision Pro. So we'll let you know how that goes in that episode, because we'll come back to talk about our pre-order experiences. And either both of us are going to be happy, one of us is going to be sad, or both of us are going to be sad. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
You'll see by our faces in the thumbnail, probably. But yeah, that's pretty much everything we got. I know that CES was also this week. Apple kind of, in typical Apple fashion, on the day of CES starting, they do their newsroom and their press release on the Vision Pro to kind of steal everybody's thunder. But I don't know, did you see anything at CES that kind of popped into your feed a little bit? Anything worth noting here at the end?
That keyboard, I think Mr. Mobile, he's involved with that keyboard. That's, I don't know how.
The keyboard?
Yeah, that looks really cool, honestly. It's a good idea. So that's something that I'm looking forward to trying out. And then there was that Rabbit AI thing. What's it called? The
Rabbit R1, I think it's called.
Yeah.
The little AI assistant. No, I agree. Those two things were the only things that I really saw. There was a ton of HomeKit stuff that came out, but that's a very niche situation. But yeah, I kind of want to try the Clicks keyboard too. My first smartphone technically was a Sidekick, I think it was, with that little the swivel screen. Yeah, the Dwayne Wade Sidekick. If you guys remember that one, definitely leave a thumbs up down below. So it was that, and then the BlackBerry Pearl. So I remember the days of the physical keyboard. Those are some good.
You just gave me a really bad flashback. So I was on call because I had a BlackBerry, but I had it was my work device, and I just remember being awakened. Is that being woken? Awoken?
Awoken?
How do you say that? It's not awoken. It's I was interrupted in my sleep. Right
there, you go.
And I just remember getting calls from being on call on that BlackBerry Pearl. Anyway. So that will wrap up this episode of the water cooler. And I'll take you home. Well, we can still see your face here. I mean, so his camera's acting up a little bit, but we can still see you on camera there. You still look good. You still look good. So this is the episode number 3 of the Water Cooler. We'll be back next week again with all of our reports on the Vision Pro pre-orders. Thank you for joining us. My name is Jeff Benjamin and my co-host Fernando. We'll see you next time.